This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We started talking about this last time we got together with her, and we ran out of time because there's so much to talk about with this system in our bodies. I'm referring to the lymphatic system. That is the system that we have. There's no pump like the heart, and it moves fluids within our body that contain waste. Where's it going to go? Needs to always be moving. Sometimes it doesn't. Then issues ensue. We're going to dig back into that today, and she has so much knowledge on this from the nursing side of things, practices acupuncture, massage. I mean, there's so many other modalities that she's connected to. And I love the fact that sometimes she brings up things that many times we don't even realize. So great to have Teresa Wilkinson back with us. She is the person behind Tulsa Path in Tulsa, Oklahoma. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Steve. How are you?
Really good, really good. Where should we pick off?
Okay, good.
Where should we pick up when it comes to the lymphatic system? Where do we leave off?
We left off where the lymphatic system, it involves several organs, the lymphatic system, as well as through our body and our extremities. Like we noticed, okay, there might be a lymph node under our arm, or that we may have the lymph nodes in our neck, but it will connect to our thymus, our gut, our small intestine, where it processes fat-soluble vitamins. Zinc is one of them. B is another that helps with any kind of infection or virus. So anyway, we decided to move to another session involving the histamine. Overload is what it's termed, but anyway, or histamine intolerance, and how it affects a lot of people. So we're carrying on with, it all started with the fact that we do lymphatic massage at the clinic. And yesterday I did a lady that was post-op tummy tuck and breast lift. And after the session, using the beamer, which is a bioelectromagnetic energy regulation, and I have a laser with a red light that I used along with the lymphatic massage, and I used some hot packs to begin with. We probably pulled 30 or 40 milliliters of fluid off of her post-op 3 weeks. But I reached out to a pharmacist that's a patient of mine. He mentioned before that she has histamine reactions because I like to put a cold pack under the neck. Because a lot of times if you think about tension, we all have neck tension, whether it be, I call it the cell phone neck or the computer neck. We all carry a lot of tension on our neck and shoulders. A lot of people are sitting at a computer all day. And I like to put a cold pack under the neck after working on a hot pack from the backside once I turn them over or face up. And believe it or not, some people with a high histamine reaction will have a reaction to temperature, whether it be hot or cold, and turn red where the cold pack would be. And so anyway, just to do a little storytelling, I asked her when she first noticed that she had any kind of histamine problem. And she said when she was 21, she was going to be roommates for college with a girl. And when she went over to visit a few times, every time she went over, she would break out with rash and also runny nose, real bad runny nose. And so part of the activation of the histamine is a runny nose, and sinus congestion, and what you might think of as hay fever. So in this neck of the woods in Oklahoma, we will have people that have a lot of allergy reaction with sinus congestion, runny nose, and sneezing during the spring and the fall. So in the spring, it's when everything's blossoming and blooming and popping and that pollen in the air. And then in the fall, it's when it's harvest time and kind of when things are dying off. And a lot of people will avoid mowing until some of those grasses are really dead because they don't want to get that hay fever reaction. And anyway, she said the friend um, thought that the she was just making an excuse not to live with her when she said, "I think I'm allergic to your cat." And so she went and decided to have an allergy test. And that's where they actually make little scratch marks on your back. I don't know if you've ever had one. And then, depending on, they'll target your issues because everybody, I was allergic to titanium. So for me, they targeted more metals. But for her, it was kind of all around. And they found it was cat and shrimp. So a lot of people have allergy to fish, and shrimp is, I guess, a big one. And so, anyway, I asked her if it was genetic, and her mother was Korean and her father was Italian. And so, and then she's married to a Latino. So she looks, she just looks like an American. It's hard to say a little bit that she even looks Korean at all, but the Italian kind of takes over. But she's got a Latino last name, so it kind of throws you for a loop. But anyway, she said her mom had allergies, but her dad did not. So she thinks she probably genetically got it from her mother. And so then her daughter, I asked her about her daughter, if her daughter had gotten a genetic down line from her and her mother. And she said, well, this is what happened. When she went to college, there was a active shooter on campus, and it was in the building next to her, and so she was very frightened and hiding, and that was a lot of stress. And then she had her laptop and cell phone in a bag, and water spilled on it and completely wiped out her laptop and cell phone, so that was a big stress. Then she went to one of the hair beauty colleges for a haircut, and they completely botched up her hair. And then she had to do some testing to see if she would qualify for this particular college, and that was stressful. So she had several stresses right in a row, and at that point, that was the onset of her having issues. But for her, it settled in the gut, so it can settle and come out through migraines, more neurologic issues, dizziness, brain fog, anxiety, panic attacks, or insomnia. It can react to your cardiovascular, creating rapid heartbeat, tightness, or just flushing. It can be respiratory, where we talked about the runny nose and the nasal drip and the asthma-like symptoms. And then it can also come up in your gut, and they call it SIBO, SIBO, but that's where they have the candida overgrowth. And what I have seen another podcast on this by some lady that was famous in New York City, that it specializes in the gut. And what she mentioned was the fact that so many times people say, if you're having trouble with your gut, eat more fiber. If you're constipated, eat more fiber. Eat more fiber.
Sure.
And then a lot of times people will be doing gluten in that process. But she says what happens is you get clogged up, the fiber actually starts breaking down, and it will create bacteria. And if you get really constipated and have that fiber setting and blocking everything, then you can even have what they call leaky gut, where
Mm.
it can start coming out of your gut and getting into your system. And that's where you really need the lymphatic system to kick in and help, because the lymphatic is right along that, runs along your colon to help. So, anyway, so the type of foods you have to avoid is that's where you start going gluten free. And there's even, you could say vegetarian, but there's actually some vegetables that are better than others. And so they call it low FOD, FOD, MAP, MAP foods. And so you can look that up. But anyway,
Well,
so
Teresa,
some
I want
foods
to
are
ask
better
you,
than others.
while we're talking about histamines and the lymphatic system, when somebody has a, call it an allergy attack, or they start sneezing, something brought it on, whether it's uh, ragweed,
Yeah.
plants, a cat, whatever it is. When you're in that state of no runny nose, something set it off. I don't know what it is. What's going on with your lymphatic system at that moment, and then thereafter, a day after, whatever it might be.
Well, when there's the overload, I think what happens is then the lymphatic system is overwhelmed. It cannot work fast enough. And uh, that's where we get help with an antihistamine and taking some medications. And then that's also what you will see in people with neuropathy, or uh, ladies that have had mastectomies where their arm swells and they tell them to wear a compression garment if they go on an airplane where there's going to be a compression of the air difference. Uh, Once that fluid gets into the extremity, or once that fluid builds up and you have that reaction in your face with your nose and
Yep.
sneezing and eyes, uh, there's such an overload that the lymphatic system can't keep up. And so that's why those symptoms kick in.
Okay,
So
wait a
it's
minute. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, learn something here. Want to confirm it. So when you have an allergy attack, let's call it that.
yeah,
Histamines have kicked in, all of that. Is it happening? Did I hear you right? It's happening because your lymphatic system can't keep up with it and flush things out, and then you have congestion.
right. It's trying, but it can't keep up. Yeah,
Wow.
it's more than it can take. So it's doing its job, but it's just not enough. And that's where it's called histamine overload. It's overloaded. And so, and
Wow.
that's even with the swelling of the feet. So I don't know if you remember the actor that was doing the Vietnam movie, and he came in with the 25-inch swollen ankles, and it turned out to be blood pressure medicine. So that's where some medicines can cause a histamine overload. And that's where he had the swollen ankles. Once he quit taking that blood pressure medicine, and his ankles went back to normal. Um,
Wow.
so also opioids can trigger it. Sometimes even alcohol. If you have too much alcohol, and I'm sure this is more in the realm of an alcoholic, where their body's breaking down, they'll have some of this. Some of the opioid. Some people are allergic to hydrocodone and not oxycodone, and they will have this symptom with hydrocodone. So some of the opioids will cause it, as well as blood pressure medicine. So
Wow. You know
and
what? I had no idea.
it'll be just like having the flu real bad. So I've had people go to the doctor and say, "Hey, I've got the flu real bad. I want a prescription of Tamiflu." And you give them the history, and they'll say, "No, it's not the flu. You're actually having a reaction to your hydrocodone." And they'll go, "No way. I have flu symptoms. They're the flu. It's everything I Googled. It's every symptom you'd have with the flu. It's not my pain pills." And they go, "No, I'm sorry. It's your hydrocodone." Now, oxy, I haven't heard about it as much as hydro, having an allergy to it, like the flu. But I have heard of patients having flu like just like having the flu. And they'll go, no way, it can't be my pain pills.
My
If
gosh.
they've just had surgery, and they're like, no, it can't be that. I need them.
Learning a lot today. And so that got to ask this question when you have, let's say, a legit cold. Now you have a cold, not just an allergy or maybe even a flu. Lymphatic system. Is it the same situation? It's overloaded. What is it doing? What is it trying to do?
Well, of course, it's trying to, like you said earlier, eliminate the toxins, eliminate uh, the waste, and it's doing its job. Now, what will help is not only taking your Alka-Seltzer daytime, nighttime, but zinc, vitamin C, your B6, and then white oak bark helps take congestion out. White oak bark is drying. So I've heard of people that build barns and will on purpose use white oak bark if it's a wood barn so that it will revert, it won't have mold in it if it gets damp inside. It's drying. So it will help dry up your lungs and sinuses, white oak bark. So white willow bark is more like aspirin, but white oak bark it will dries up the lungs and sinuses. But
Mm.
that's where you just have to start doing your home treatments and have some. And I know that to me the old fashioned cough syrup is whiskey and honey and lemon. I don't know if you remember that from childhood.
I remember the first time I ever had an alcoholic beverage. I was underage. I was with some friends who were a little bit older. Had a cold, really bad one. And I'll never forget. I could tell you where I was, the place I was at, the town, everything. And they're like, have a shot of blackberry brandy. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah, it'll make you feel better. I don't remember what it made me feel like, but that was the rule of thumb there, I guess, along the same lines as the whiskey. What's going on with the whiskey then?
Oh, that's a good question. I would think that it's vasodilator. Um,
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. And
and and
why do they always say um, tea with lemon and honey? What's the deal there? I guess, the warm beverage tea, I could understand that, and tea is good for you. I love it
I,
myself.
I think honey is like the syrupy texture that helps coat the
Okay.
rawness of the throat.
Mm.
And then the lemon, I think that may be part of the getting some vitamin C, maybe, and
Hmm.
the acidicness of it, maybe cutting through the mucus.
Interesting. Well, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, 2 years ago, I lost my voice for like 2 weeks. It was just a bad virus. And I remember going into the store and there was a small bottle of some concoction that it was honey, it was lemon, there was something else in there, and it was supposed to, I guess, coat the throat. So maybe it's all part of coating the throat and so you're not feeling as raw. Maybe that's
Right.
part of it.
Now, just realize gargle with salt water anytime you have a flare up with your throat. Gargle with salt water. Really tilt your head back, let that salt water go back to the back of your throat, to your tonsils, and really gargle. And the salt water, just keep that up through the day, but that will really be your saving grace.
Wow. Often have
Good old
heard
salt
that.
water.
That's one of the things your mother always said, the doctor always said. One step further on that, I have a friend, and he's been saying this for years. When he feels something coming on in his throat, he doesn't swallow it, but he gargles with peroxide or peroxide and a little bit of water. Bad idea or good idea?
Good idea, and that is true. And I sometimes have added peroxide with the salt water. It's going to kill germs, and I've had my dentist even say, and he's from the New York area, but he's a immigrant from the over in Europe. But anyway, he recommended that for just bacteria in your gums and teeth to swish with it,
Hmm.
and it will cut down plaque buildup and that kind of thing. So it can be advantageous to your teeth as well, and gums.
I had no idea, but it makes perfect sense as long as you don't swallow it. And I'm going to get some. I'm out of it. I know I don't have any in my place. I know for a fact I don't have any.
So do you have a dog? Do you have a dog at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you take a little peroxide, and sometimes I add a little peppermint oil to it and put it on a cotton ball or even tissue or paper towel, whatever you choose, and rub the back teeth and rub the teeth of your dog. It will also cut down the plaque. And I clean my dog's teeth. I always do that before I clean, and I can use just a an instrument that you find in a cuticle kit, and the plaque will just come off in sheaths, and just like one big hunk, I can take it at the gum line and just push, and boom, it just falls off. But I have to prep it with the peroxide, and my vet told me to do that. And if you can prevent your dog having to have teeth extractions, it is so important.
I am all over that, Teresa. I can't believe we pivoted to dogs now, but I'll tell you, his breath isn't the best. I'm used to it now, but others will say, "Oh my God, your dog's breath." Well, it's obvious what it is. It's most likely, the teeth, the gums, and all of that. And he's healthy, but you know what?
Try the peroxide.
I'm gonna.
But I add a little peppermint with it, so it's not so yucky.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for that.
Okay.
You're a wealth of information for humans and pets. TulsaPath.com is your website to the center there in Oklahoma. And certainly you're available. Somebody's got questions virtual. There's some things you can do there as well. Thank you for breaking this all down for us. My gosh, I had no idea even what is going on with the lymphatic system when somebody has a cold. Didn't even come into my radar. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right. Well, we always have fun.
All right. Likewise. Thank you so much.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.